Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Amber Duke.
And I'm Robby Soave. Well, as the new co-leaders of the soon-to-be-created Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have pledged to delete federal agencies like lines of outdated code. Here's Ramaswamy on with Fox News.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies, like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, how quickly we're able to move with some of those changes, given the legal backdrop the Supreme Court has given us.
And even some Democrats might be embracing the potential cuts. Here's Delaware Senator Chris Coons on the matter.
They could save tens or even hundreds of billions of dollars. Depending on how it's structured and what they do, this could be a constructive undertaking that ought to be embraced.
Wow, Chris Coons. Who would have thought?
Not me. I'm taken by quite surprise when a Democrat agrees to cut spending or agrees these days with anything Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are saying. So that's a good sign, some bipartisan appreciation for the idea of reducing government spending and reining in the federal workforce. This is a terrific idea. This is something Republicans campaign on doing and never, ever, ever accomplish or even put a dent in regardless. So I would like to see it happen this time. I won't hold my breath, but Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk seem pretty committed to it. I would, pro tip to them, cutting entire departments is difficult. The easiest way, I think, to reduce the federal workforce would be to just require all federal workers to come back to work in person. Many of them are still, this is going to be surprising to most people who don't work in government service who have to show up for work, but many federal agencies, branches are still letting employees do work from home or some kind of hybrid thing. If you make them come in, there's going to be people resigning from their jobs, and then you just don't have to replace them.
Yeah, or there's been the idea floated, I think, by Trump and members of his incoming administration to move some of the departments to the Midwest or the South of the U.S. so that all of this power is not concentrated in Washington, D.C., which is a huge problem with it's
Yes.
Very indicative of why the city is the way that it is, because you have basically people who are native to D.C., who have lived here their entire lives, who don't have anything to do with government, and then you have this massive workforce of millions of people who are transplants from elsewhere in the country and live in the suburbs around D.C. and just basically suck off at the taxpayer.
And all share the same politics, the same perspectives, the same backgrounds. And some of these agencies do work that is more relevant to certain parts of the country or others. Atlanta is a major Delta Airlines hub. Maybe we move transportation somewhere like that. Interior is managing tons of land in the American West, far West. What if those people should be out there more proximate to parks or national resources, that kind of thing. So you can easily imagine a world where it doesn't make sense for specific departments, or just to move some people, have sub-branches out there, and then you can have, to the extent these are viewed as job programs, which I do not think should be the primary way we look at government service, because this is taxpayer money that's taking away money that could be spent productively in the private sector. But at least then, if you're having people do these jobs, you can have it be spread out, and you can be, maybe creating work, if this work is going to be done anyway, in other parts of the country, instead of just growing and expanding the DC multi-headed hydra.
Yeah, and it would probably help prevent brain drain in some of those areas as well. I love the way that Vivek Ramaswamy uses language in regards to getting rid of these departments, which is delete.
Delete.
I love
Delete.
the mental image of just hitting a button on my computer and an entire department is gone. It excites me, I must admit. And then even if you don't get rid of the entire departments, as you said, that is a difficult endeavor. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that you can get rid of in terms of just government spending programs that are completely, annual federal waste report. We love it. It's beautiful. I know back when I interned at the Heritage Foundation, like a decade ago, they did an annual waste report where they had just a list of all of the ridiculous things that we were spending money on, like I mean, Anthony Fauci was involved in this program that like put puppies in cages and like killed them or
We
something.
know all about that,
right?
yes.
It's disturbing, strange stuff. It's like somebody got high one day and decided to submit a $20 million proposal to the NIH, and their study gets funded, and it's not anything that actually helps benefit anybody's life in any tangible way. All of those things need to go.
Yeah,
and like, let's start there.
Including and especially the things NIH greenlit or considered that are reckless and dangerous to like the survival of the human race.
Yeah,
including the
right.
research they did in Wuhan, China that we paid for as American taxpayers.
Oh, we're not doing gain of function.
Oh. Yeah, I just saw there was like a kind of attack piece on RFK Jr. from The Bulwark. And again, I do not agree with a lot of RFK Jr.'s policies. I have some concerns about him in the HHS role. But the bombshell is that he said the headline is, he said the pandemic may have been planned by the U.S. government. And then if he's like, well, I don't know if it was planned. Some aspects of it look planned. It could have been planned, but I don't know. Like, well, I don't think the government plan to have a pandemic, but they did plan to do unsafe, reckless research that top safety advisors were not going to let them do in China if they were transparent about the fact that that's where the research was going to be conducted. So they misled people in the grant funding to say that this was going to be US-based research, was actually going to be done in China. So it's like, yeah, a drunk driver doesn't plan to crash their car into the other side of the road, but it was very reckless and very not advisable. So things like that, I hope it would be great to cut. There's a lot from our military industrial complex stuff I would like to cut, from DHS, from TSA. You could delete the whole program.
Yeah.
You could delete. In fact, Reason Magazine, in one of our most recent issues, has each staffer picks an agency or department or plan that you could just wholesale get rid of without any compromising safety or security or anything of that nature. And of course, we do have to touch entitlements if we're going to balance the federal budget. Nobody wants to hear it because people are afraid to lose their Medicare, Social Security, et cetera. But we do have to address these programs somehow.
One of my big white whales is getting rid of a lot of the people whose sole purpose of existing within the federal bureaucracy is to make rules that make everybody miserable. Chief among them is what I call the war on life's simple pleasures. The EPA standards with efficiency and environmental regulations related to appliances and light bulbs has been the bane of my existence for the past, 10 years that I've been a working adult. My dishwasher takes 2.5 hours for a basic run cycle. The speed wash function on my washing machine takes 46 minutes. My dryer has a sensor on it that tells you when your clothes are dry.
Oh, the dryer! I have the dryer problem.
Dry.
Oh my
they
god!
Don't dry.
Oh my god! How have we never talked about this before?
Yeah.
I have the same dryer problem.
Yes.
I hate.
You have to run it 3 times to get your clothes dry.
But it doesn't.
But it does because the sensor keeps because you start the cycle again and then it's like, no, they're dry. I told you they're dry.
No,
they're not
dry. It is dry already. What are you talking about, human?
Yeah.
No, it is not dry. I will.
Yep.
This was my fight.
Yes.
Like Galileo, yet it is not dry.
They put water savers in the shower heads so you can't get good water pressure. And it's completely bass-ackwards because, surprise, surprise, you're using more water because you have to spend more time in the shower, you have to run your dishwasher twice, your dryer 3 times to get your clothes dry. And it makes no frickin' sense, and it makes everybody's lives miserable. It's almost like that's the point, right? Like they want us to be miserable. We can't have appliances that work right. And as viewers of this show know, I am, of course, critical of corporations probably more than most people at Reason. But the idea that we need to put some limit on washing machines because people's washing machines work too well is insane. And I would love to unleash the appliance industry in the United States. I think everyone would be a lot happier. And this is something that the Democratic populace should be on board with because this affects working families the most, right? People who don't have time to sit there and rerun their washer cycle 3 times to make sure their clothes are clean. We want efficient, quick, effective appliances. Please, Trump administration, I'm begging you, fix this situation.
And I thought this was all in my head. I thought I was going crazy with my dryer. Why isn't it? What is it?
And the LED light bulbs that suck your soul because they're all bright white like a hospital. Bring back the amber bulbs with the filament. We all want them.
The light bulbs are going off above your head right now because you're having such a great idea.
Thank you.
More free media right after this.